Ottish.com. Learn anywhere, anytime.
Next important pass यो किनसम्म हामीले बेसिक आइडिया गरेको भन्दाखेरि we need sometimes comparison between the diagrammatical presentation and graphical presentation because course of study focus the diagrammatic presentation. In the diagrammatic presentation, or we study the diagram presentation, we should compare the diagrammatic presentation into the graphical presentation. There are following comparison between the diagrammatical presentation and graphical presentation. Diagrammatical presentation should be mainly used for the qualitative data, categorical data, naming variable, but the quantitative variable, frequency distribution or numerical variable that by using the graphical presentation. That are the first differences between these different types of diagrammatical and graphical presentation. Diagrammatical presentation is used or done either in one dimension or multi-dimension. That is according to the different characteristics, different features, different properties of the variable. But graphical is used only two dimension, horizontal axis, that is a variable, vertical axis, their respective frequencies. Presentation of frequency distribution not used by using the diagram, but graphic is only used for the frequency distribution. Okay. Next types of the difference between the diagrammatical and graphical presentation. In the diagram presentation looks or seems to be attractive and long lasting to understand even in the illiterate person, normal layman or common man. But graphical presentation of the data or graphical presentation of the statistical information is relatively complex as compared to the diagrammatical relation. It can be used for further statistical or mathematical treatment. Diagrams should be drawn based upon the plain paper, also in the graph paper, but graphical presentation only used by the graph papers, not in the plain papers. For the diagrammatic presentation, these are the attractive, effective for the long-lasting or comparative study. But in the case of the graph, we should only based upon the simple in natures. Values of the generally median and different types of summary value are not possible by using the diagrammatic presentation, but graphical presentation we also found the different types of summary value like mode, median, even in the decile, percentile, different types of the percentile, decile, quartiles, etc. are calculated by using the graphical presentation. It does not show any relations of the variable because the diagrams does not show any relationship between two or more than variables, but in the case of the graphical presentation, it shows the mathematical relationship between the two variables like regression, etc. shows the graphical presentation. Diagrams are not useful for further statistical analysis, only to show the comparative study. For the categorical variable, graphs should be commonly used to researcher for further statistical analysis like correlation, regression, even the skewness, kurtosis. These are the used by the graphical relation. In the case of the example for the bar diagrammatic presentation, bar diagram, pie diagram, component bar diagram, these are the example of the diagrammatic presentation. Similarly, graphical presentation, histogram, frequency curve, 𝐬𝐲𝐵, relative frequency curve, these are the example of the graphical presentation. अब हामीले चाहिँ यहाँ डिफरेन्स बिट्विन द डायग्रामेटिक एन्ड ग्राफिकल चाहिँ पढ्यौँ. ग्राफिकल प्रेजेन्टेसनमा चाहिँ इन डेप्थ स्टडी चाहिँ मैले गरिनँ बिकज आवर कोर्स अफ स्टडी डज नट फोकस द graphical presentation, that is a focus on the diagrammatic presentation. Diagrammatic presentation चाहिँ हामीले सबै कुरा गर्यौं. अब after the next step, next one is the measure of central tendency. A measure central statistical purpose मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि first of all collected data, त्यसपछि classify and present data. After the presenting data, we need the summary value, single value. That is there to be measure of central tendency. Measure of central tendency कुरा गर्दाखेरि definition चाहिँ हामी लेख्नै पर्ने हुन्छ किनभने अब measure of central tendency स्कुल देखि पढ्दै आएको कारणले मैले यहाँ definition लाई चाहिँ कम फोकस गरे. स्टुडेन्ट definition सबै लेख्न सक्छ किनभने measure of central tendency is the single value within the range, within the given set of data, within the observed set of data. That should be focused or concentrated on the middle value or central value in simple and concise manner. भनेर हामीले चाहिँ धेरै टुरमा पढिसकेका छौँ, लेखिसकेका छौँ। त्यही कारणले हामी चाहिँ एग्रिकल्चर अफिसर इभन द डिफ्रेन्ट टाइप्सको पोस्टमा अब त्यस गरी ट्यु सेवा, नाट, लोक सेवाहरूमा लेख्दाखेरि चाहिँ हामीले डिफिनेसन त लेखिहाल्छौँ सिम्पलमा। डिफिनेसन भन्दाखेरि हामीलाई चाहिने चाहिँ एडभान्टेज, लिमिटेसन, एप्लिकेसन, रिस्ट्रिक्सन डिफ्रेन्ट वे, बिकज वी निड द मोर मार्क्स एज कम्पेयर टु अदर क्यान्डिडेट। अरू क्यान्डिडेट भन्दा हामीलाई फर्स्ट मार्क्स चाहिँ के त भन्दाखेरि अब यो चाहिँ स्कुल लेभल एकाडेमिक पर्पजको लागि मात्र होइन, वी गट द अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड। त्यही भएर यसले चाहिँ नलेज पनि मेजर गर्ने कारणले गर्दाखेरि डिफिनेसन एज वेल एज युजेज, एडभान्टेज, प्रपर्टिज, एप्लिकेसनहरू चाहिँ म बढी भन्ने गर्छु। त्यही कारण मेजर अफ सेन्ट्रल टेन्डेन्सीमा चाहिँ अघि नै भने जस्तै द्याट इज द मेजर अफ सेन्ट्रल टेन्डेन्सी आफ्टर द लार्ज मास अफ डेटा वी निड द सिंगल भ्यालु, सिंगल न्युमेरिकल भ्यालु विदिन द सेट अफ डेटा, विदिन अब्जर्भ सेट अफ डेटा which concentrate the middle and central location of the data in simple and concise manner. It is also said to be summary statistics or descriptive statistics to measure the central value of the given distribution. That is the definition of the central tendency. Central tendency are the following requisites or properties of good measure of central tendency. Which one is the most appropriate measure of central tendency? Generally, according to the Professor Yule, that should be given the following are the requirement or characteristics of the ideal measure of central tendency. It should be clearly defined, rigidly defined. We need to clearly define which one is mean, median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean, or arithmetic mean. It should be easy to calculate and simple to understand as much as possible. Central tendency should be easy to calculate and is simple to understand. Next one, it should be based upon the all observation. Generally, all observation ko based on that is suitable. It should be further mathematical calculation. It should be need to further mathematical calculation like dispersion, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, correlation, regression, hypothesis estimation, etc. को लागि पनि use हुनु पर्यो. It should be fluctuated list from the sample to sample drawn from the same population. Population entire unit को जति इन्फर्मेसन छ त्यहाँबाट स्याम्पल तान्दा पनि त्यसको सेन्ट्रल टेन्डेन्सी भ्यालु चाहिँ त्यति डेभिएट नभएको हुनु पर्यो. द्याट इज द लिस्ट एफेक्टेड बाई द सेक्चुएसन स्याम्पलिङ. इट सुड बी लिस्ट एफेक्टेड बाई एक्सट्रिम भ्यालु. Largest and smallest value are said to be extreme value. That should be that values does not affect the measure of central tendency. These are the characteristic requisite properties of measure of central tendency. After the properties, next one is the there are following types of the measure of central tendency is also known as the average, central value, central location, or it is also known as simple average. There are following types of the average. There are based upon the especially based on the mean, median, and mode. There are three different types of summary value. Mean is purpose of the quantitative data, numerical data. Generally numerical data मा हामी mean calculation गर्छौं. अनि median भनेको चाहिँ generally quantitative variable चाहिँ qualitative meaning. अथवा frequency distribution चाहिँ open ended छ भने we can use the median. Mode that is also use the comparative study between the groups. There are most repeated value. That case we use the mode. There are mean are different types of mean. One should be unweighted mean. Another one is the weighted mean. If the values of variable are classified some category according to some importance, priorities, or criteria, that types of variable we use the weighted mean. For example, marks. Marks should be divided into the theoretical examination and practical examination. Inside the practical examination, there are written examination, viva, and internal assessment. This way, if the variable are classified this type of categories, this type of priorities, this type of classes, this type of criteria, in that case we use the weighted mean. Otherwise, if the variable are not classified that types of the categories, priorities, or importance, that variable we should use the unweighted mean like weight, height, yield. This type of variable should be used by the weighted, unweighted, or simple mean. It is also said to be simple mean. Inside the simple mean or unweighted mean, there are three different types of the mean: arithmetic mean, simply general mean, or average, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. simple variable, if we accost the simple variable, in that case we use the arithmetic mean. Generally, rate, ratio, proportion, this type of mean is used by the geometric mean. Geometric mean त्यस्तोमा हुन्छ. In geometric mean, in the case of the Nepal, that is life insurance. Insurance company should be used the geometric mean. Harmonic mean, that is a specific type of variable, ratio, speed, velocity, this type of the variables should be used to calculate the harmonic mean. This type of different mean, we already the definition, calculation, formula of the this type of mean should be already studied in the different level, even in the school level. And our purpose is how to apply it, which variable should be educated, or when this type of variable should be useful to calculate the or apply the this type of average. यो कुरो चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ यहाँ लेख्न सक्यो भने हाम्रो एग्रिकल्चर अफिसर्समा अथवा कृषि अधिकृतमा चाहिँ म्याक्सिमम मार्क्स अथवा अरू भन्दा चाहिँ डिफरेन्ट मार्क्स आउन सक्छ.